Timeshares can be great, but they also can be frustrating, especially when you can't book them when you want to travel or when your annual maintenance fees continue to increase. With those maintenance fee statements arriving in the mail very soon, Timeshare Termination Team is here to share with us how they can help you relieve this burden by eliminating those mandatory fees. And Brian Wilbur joins me today with more. Welcome to Morning Blend. How are you?
Thank you for having us here this morning.
So I'm excited to talk with you, and I think this is the perfect city to talk about it. We're glad you're here in Tampa because Tampa, a lot of people may have a timeshare here or come down to Florida, kind of have this mentality. But how did this all come to be? Tell us about your company.
You know, we're here to represent distressed timeshare owners that are stuck in a situation where they're not getting enough value out of what they own, and oftentimes they're very difficult to get out of. And so we offer that safe place to land where they can get the information they need to move on with their life sometimes. Not all timeshares are equal. There's good and bad, but if they're in a bad spot, we're here to help.
Which I think what's most interesting is how you kind of got into this, Brian. And I think you need to share that you've been there. People don't need to necessarily feel alone, right?
No, they're not alone. There are a lot of very intelligent, very highly educated people that have bought timeshare, and again, different strokes for different folks. But I myself know firsthand what it's like to go through it. I'm a recovering owner myself, and you know, bought for all the right reasons and got some good usage out of it, but realized at some point it wasn't a right fit, and know what it's like to go through the gauntlet to try to get out.
I like that you described it as a gauntlet, or should I say I don't like that you described it as a gauntlet, but that's where people like yourselves come in. There are other companies out there that do things that are similar. How is your company different than those maybe people have already heard of?
Well, I'm glad you asked. First of all, because I am a recovering owner, and as one of the co-founders, we've built a culture to help understand where people are at. They're not alone. People have been through this before, and there's a way to get out. And in addition, when we're talking about timeshare specifically, we're talking about just seasons of life change. That's a big piece of it as well. People getting a little bit older, maybe they're not traveling the same way. And sometimes the children want the timeshare, sometimes they don't. So there's a lot of different scenarios how people come to us, but at the end of the day, we're just trying to get the right info out there. One of the things I do want to touch on is we don't list or rent or sell your timeshare. The reality is there's just no market for that right now. And so anybody who's contacting any of your viewers out there trying to do that, be very careful. We legally take permanent action to cancel the contracts, and we're very good at what we do.
So just to reiterate, there's no reselling involved, which sometimes, like you said, that is actually a scam that's going on right now.
It can be spooky. A lot of people fall victim to that, so be very careful.
When you were talking about timeshares, you kind of addressed on the fact they used to be very popular, and now as people are aging, a lot of times, you know, there's a child that it's passed down, and then they get these maintenance fee schedules that can be quite intimidating. And you were saying because there's no regulation, sometimes these fees are going through the roof, right?
It's true. They're homeowners association fees. There is no regulation, so it's up to the developer at what rate and how often they increase, and that's just not fair, at least in my opinion and the opinion of a lot of others.
Which is kind of the perfect time why we're talking about this now, because a lot of times those maintenance fees, as I've grown to learn, comes out here during the fall. Right,
this time of year, everybody kind of starts looking forward to the holidays, and then wham, they get this bill. So it's not always a happy situation.
You know, as we wrap up this first one, which I'm lucky to say you're going to come back for a few more segments, what do you want people out there to know when it comes to the timeshare, that it's not necessarily a sentence that people have to be tied to?
That's right. You know, there's a lot of different types of ownerships. There's a lot of moving parts. But overall, the biggest thing I want timeshare owners to know is you're not alone. There are options out there. There are companies that, like ourselves, that are willing to take the legal steps necessary to get you out. It's tough to do this on your own. Going up against the big boys is tough, even when you've got the firepower that we have with our premier legal team. But to go up against it alone, it's something I wouldn't wish on anyone.
Well, if you're interested in more information, if you are a timeshare owner and want to see maybe how you can terminate and get out, well, good news. The first 25 callers receive a free consultation, which is valued at $199. The Timeshare Termination Team is now located on Kennedy Boulevard. There's more information on your screen on how you can get help. Brian, thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure. Thank you.